Hello. Finally, we're going to go over the last 4 limbs of the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. There are many variations of this book, many translations, I should say, not variations, translations of the Yoga Sutras. So if you look on Amazon, you'll see more than that particular book. Okay, again, you have did an overview of the yamas and niyamas. You've done yoga postures. You've definitely done the breathing, and you started to enter into the relaxation. There's a little bit more to limb number 5, which I'm going to get into right now. Okay, limb number 5. So you can see the board here. I went 5, 6, 7, and 8. Limb number 5 is pratyahara, and it means withdrawal of the senses. And again, some of you have entered this state of mind when you do the relaxations. But I'm going to refer to this as in meditation. All this, these 3 limbs have to do with meditation. Okay. When we sit down, pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses. Did I say that? And when you sit down to meditate, this is where most people quit. They get very frustrated. I hear students say, I don't have time for this, or I have too much chatter in my head, or it bothers my body. I'm uncomfortable meditating. Well, that's part of the meditation. That's the very beginning of meditation. You start to notice all this mind chatter. You start to feel uncomfortable because you're seated. You try to get as comfortable as you can before you begin, but what I'm referring to is your body starts to distract you from the meditation. You start getting like itchy skin. For me personally, it was always my nose. I was always like, all of a sudden my face would start to itch and I couldn't stop itching it, and you have to control yourself. So when they say withdrawal of the senses, what they're referring to is that you're not attached to your senses. So you're sitting down to meditate and you start to hear, I don't know, some music. And that makes you think, that particular song makes you think of your ex-boyfriend. And your ex-boyfriend, the time you guys went to Lagoon and you had this great time in the summer. Then you start thinking about ice cream cones that you ate in the summer. And your mind is all over the place just because you heard something. Okay? Same thing with your nose. Maybe you smell hamburgers cooking in the dorm room and you're like, I'm hungry. I had a hamburger last week. Maybe I shouldn't eat hamburgers. And all the meanwhile, you're trying to meditate, right? Maybe you start thinking about what you saw, your eyes, or what you said with your mouth. So you're seated, you're trying to meditate. Actually, you're not really trying yet. You're just noticing. All this stuff comes up. Side note, literally a little side note. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So notice where your energy goes. Where does your mind go when you sit down to meditate? So in this book, he's telling us, Patanjali, that this is normal, that sitting down to meditate and being drawn to the senses is normal. So we have to learn to withdraw from the senses by just sitting and noticing it first. Okay. Then you move into the second stage of meditation. And this is where you start to concentrate. Concentration. This is where you train your mind to create stillness in your body and your mind. And this is done through 1-point focus. Again, this is done through a 1-point focus. You've done this in class with me. The one point could be the breath. So you're sitting and you've got all this chatter, and then you keep focusing on one point. It could be a mantra, something you say over and over. We've done the finger meditation where you imagine looking through the middle of your forehead and you see each finger. Okay. One point focus could be just a body scan, focusing on each area of your body. It could be chanting, like we've done in class, Ramadasa, Sase, Sohang. So you do one point focus, and each time your mind wanders, you bring it back to the one point. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, you kind of have a thought, I'm meditating. Because you have less of this chatter and more focus. So you've moved into the second step of meditation, which is more focus, concentration. Side note, this is a great way to break habits such as smoking or to relieve symptoms of depression. Because again, where your energy goes, where your mind goes, your energy flows. So if you're always thinking about smoking, for example, I got to get a cigarette, I got to take a break, I got to smoke a cigarette, that's where your attention goes. So then you want more cigarettes. Okay? Or I'm depressed, I can't believe I'm depressed. And you give your depression a lot of energy, a lot of focus. When you start to meditate, you move away from that. So you train your brain to think of something else, and sooner or later it can help relieve the symptoms of depression or break a habit, if that makes sense. Because you're training your mind not to be focused on all the ridiculous things. Maybe I shouldn't call it ridiculous. Anyways, you move into concentration, and then the third stage of meditation comes along. Dhyana. And this is when you're actually meditating. So your concentration gets deeper. And you have no more thoughts. And you have no more action. And by no more action, I mean you're not trying to concentrate anymore. And you move past that. You're no longer trying to concentrate, and you're meditating. And you will not have the thought, I'm meditating, because there's no more thoughts. It's a deeper level of meditation. And finally, you have samadhi. Samadhi is union. By the way, union, yoga means to yoke, to join, to become one with the body, mind, breath, and spirit. So you enter samadhi, union. It's a higher awareness, a higher understanding that through all those 8 limbs, through all the yamas, through all the niyamas, through the breath, through the practice of physical yoga, through meditation, you become enlightened. Another word for that was realization. Or we know. You just know. You now know that you are divine. You've moved into a higher understanding of all of it. And that concludes the summary of the 8 limbs of yoga. Next week, I'm going to have a guest speaker, and he's going to go through the 8 limbs of yoga backwards, starting with number 8 and moving down to number 1. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.